It was one of those bright, windy mornings when the world looked alive and kind. But for 17-year-old Aria Vance, kindness felt like something that existed only in other people's lives. The sun shimmered on the sleek black car she had just parked in the lot outside Crestview High, and she could already feel eyes on her. It wasn't admiration, it was suspicion. Whispering voices rose around her, laughter that wasn't meant to be kind filled the air, and before she could even close the car door, 3 familiar figures were walking toward her with their mocking smirks. Kelsey, Brooke, and Jenna, the queens of Crestview, and the ones who had made Aria's life a quiet battlefield for the past 2 years. Before we dive deep into Aria's unforgettable story, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Fearless Grace if you believe in kindness, forgiveness, and second chances, because what happens next will remind you that sometimes one truth can silence 1,000 lies. Aria had transferred to Crestview just last year after her mother's passing. Her father, a quiet mechanic who spent his life fixing other people's cars, had saved every penny to give Aria a better future. But being new in a wealthy school where everyone measured worth by the brand of your clothes and the car you drove had made her an easy target. Aria didn't dress to impress. She wore simple jeans and faded sneakers, her chestnut hair usually tied back in a messy bun, and her brown eyes carried a tired calmness that made her seem older than her age. That morning, though, everything was different. She had driven to school. Not by bus, not by walking miles under the sun, but in a car. A sleek luxury vehicle that gleamed like a mirror in the daylight. The same one she and her father had spent weeks repairing for a customer. But now it was hers for a reason she hadn't told anyone yet. Whoa, Aria. Didn't know you upgraded from the public bus to a stolen ride. Kelsey sneered, tossing her glossy hair over her shoulder. Her friends broke into laughter, loud enough to draw the attention of everyone nearby. Aria's hands tightened around the strap of her worn backpack. She didn't respond. Silence was her shield, but that only made them bolder. Brooke pulled out her phone, already recording. Look at this, everyone. The charity case of Crestview just rolled up in a car that probably doesn't belong to her. Wonder which rich guy she took it from. Aria's cheeks burned as she looked down. Dozens of students had stopped to watch, their eyes shifting between her and the car. The laughter grew crueler. Someone shouted, "Maybe she's trying to act rich for once!" The words stabbed deep. The truth was the car had been a gift, not stolen, not borrowed. A gift from someone who believed in her, someone whose name carried a weight none of these girls could imagine. But before she could explain, Jenna stepped forward, her manicured hand gripping Aria's wrist. "Why don't we just settle this right now?" she said, her voice dripping with false sweetness. "If it's really your car, show us the papers. Or better yet, let's call the cops. They'll check whose name it's under." A quiet gasp spread across the crowd. Aria froze, her breath shallow. She had expected teasing, not this. Kelsey smirked, pulling out her phone like she was ready for a show. "Good idea, Jenna. Let's see if the thief can talk her way out this time." Aria tried to speak, but the lump in her throat grew heavier. Words refused to come out. It wasn't fear of being caught. She had done nothing wrong. It was the humiliation of being doubted, judged, and cornered once again. The world around her blurred with noise until a deep, steady voice broke through it. "What's going on here?" The crowd parted. Standing by the entrance was Principal Reynolds, his sharp eyes scanning the scene. Kelsey stepped forward eagerly. "Sir, we just caught Aria parking this expensive car in the student lot. It's clearly not hers, and she won't explain where she got it. We thought—" Reynolds raised a hand. "Nuff. Aria, is this true?" Every eye turned toward her. Aria swallowed, lifting her gaze to meet his. "It's my car." "Sir," she said softly, "I can prove it." Kelsey scoffed. "Oh, please. You probably printed fake papers." Reynolds frowned. "All right, Aria. Do you have ID or registration?" Aria nodded, her fingers trembling slightly as she opened her bag. Inside, among notebooks and sketches, was a slim envelope her father had handed her that morning. He had smiled and said, "It's time you carry something that belongs to you, kiddo." She pulled out her wallet and handed over a card. Reynolds examined it carefully, his brows furrowed, then lifted in visible surprise. He turned the ID toward the crowd. "I believe this settles everything." On the card, beneath her name and photograph, was a seal and title that made every whisper stop cold. ADOVNCE, Regici ODOYABDEDSIGM, or the silence was deafening. Kelsey blinked, her mouth falling open. Wait, Vance Automotive, as in Vance Motors, the company that builds custom luxury cars. Reynolds nodded, still holding the card. Yes, the car she drove in is a prototype model. Her late grandfather was Henry Vance, founder of the company, and it seems she's now listed as one of the junior owners. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Aria's eyes dropped, her voice barely above a whisper. My dad never talked about it much. He left the family company years ago after my mom got sick. But last month the board contacted him. They wanted to bring him back. The car is part of that. A prototype he and I helped design together. Brooke's phone slowly lowered. The laughter was gone. Kelsey's perfect posture faltered as she took a step back. We didn't know, she stammered, her earlier confidence vanishing like smoke. Reynolds handed Aria's ID back with a proud nod. I think you owe her an apology. The three girls stood frozen, their faces pale. Around them, the same students who had laughed now stared in silence, some whispering apologies under their breath. Aria could have gloated, could have let the moment turn into revenge. But instead, she smiled faintly, a quiet, almost heartbreaking smile that said she didn't need their approval anymore. It's okay, she said softly. You didn't know. But maybe next time, you'll think before calling someone a thief. Then she turned, walked toward the school building, and didn't look back. The rest of the day, the rumor spread like wildfire, not about a stolen car, but about the quiet girl who turned out to be part of the legendary Vance family, who helped design one of the most advanced electric prototypes in the country. By lunchtime, teachers were congratulating her. By evening, even Kelsey found herself sitting alone, realizing how cruel her arrogance had made her look. But for Aria, the victory wasn't about reputation. It was about peace. She sat alone later that afternoon by the empty football bleachers, watching the sunlight melt into the horizon. Her phone buzzed with messages, some apologies, some invitations to hang out. She ignored them all. Her father texted, "You did good today, kiddo. Mom would be proud." A tear slipped down her cheek. The car sat parked nearby, the one that had sparked all the chaos. To her it wasn't a symbol of wealth. It was a memory of her father's hands covered in grace, of nights spent sketching designs on old notebooks, of a dream they never gave up on. Sometimes, she thought, people only see the surface, the clothes, the car, the name, and forget the story behind it all. The next morning, when Aria drove back to school, something incredible happened. As she pulled into the same lot, several students came forward, not to mock but to help her park. Kelsey, red-faced but sincere, approached her with trembling words. "Aria, I'm sorry. We were wrong." Aria looked at her for a long moment, then nodded. "Apology accepted," she said. "But try to be kinder to the next person who doesn't fit your idea of perfect." For the first time, Kelsey had no comeback, only humility. From that day on, the story of the stolen car girl became something else entirely, a lesson that spread through every hallway of Crestview. Teachers spoke of integrity. Students whispered about judging less. And Aria, the girl who once walked those halls unnoticed, became a quiet symbol of strength and grace. That weekend, the local paper ran a story. Teenage designer revives family's legacy at Vance Automotive. The article featured her picture, standing beside the car, eyes bright with purpose. She didn't need revenge or validation. She had something better, her truth. If this story touched your heart or reminded you that real worth lies beyond appearances, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to Fearless Grace. Your support helps stories like Aria's reach more hearts around the world. And before we end, tell us in the comments below, have you ever been judged unfairly, only to prove everyone wrong in the end? Your story might just inspire someone else today. As the sun dipped behind the school's horizon that evening, Aria looked back one last time at the car that had started it all. It glowed under the fading light, a symbol not of status but of resilience. She smiled, started the engine, and drove forward, not just toward another day, but toward a future built not on wealth, but on grace. The end.